Well, it's a very warm welcome and thank you for joining us on this independent off-tube studio commentary. The game at Stamford Bridge has just got underway. Chelsea taking on RB Salzburg, a game in a Group E, and Chelsea, of course, under new manager now, Graham Potter. So it will be very interesting to see how Chelsea perform this evening. Just from the Champions League perspective, they've got to get a good result today, having lost their last game away to Dinamo Zagreb. And Graham Potter's first game in charge. He has made a few changes, altered the formation somewhat, so it will be fascinating to see just how Chelsea respond. Of course, all the Premier League teams had an unexpected weekend off, of course, with the passing of our Queen Elizabeth. So it does mean that the players have had just that little bit more time to adapt to the new manager and be fresh for this game. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Harry Jones taking you through the action. Harry, Chelsea, even with the management changes, they should be strong favourites this evening.
Yeah, they should, and it's just be an interesting matchup. I think it's be very intriguing to see how they do set up in this first game, see the tactical changes that Graham Potter's brought in his short time since arriving at Stamford Bridge. So it'll be interesting to see how they set up, if they're more attacking as we break off.
Well, they go straight on the attack here. The ball getting towards the edge of the area. Mount just couldn't quite get a shot away. Ball's cleared into midfield, and there should be a free kick there, I thought, for the visitors. Referee Ivan Kruzliak not interested, though. The ball cleared up towards the halfway line. Reece James tries to control it here for Chelsea before Andreas Ulmer volleys that one clear. Cucurella just having to jump with Fernando there. He wins the header, but then the loose ball is still picked up here now by Susic, going back towards the halfway line. Dispossessed though, and now it's Aubamayang bringing the ball out for Chelsea. Gets to the edge of the area, goes down. Referee says no free kick, but Kovacic and Jorginho trying to recycle that ball. Goes over towards Cucurella, who then gets tripped, and that is going to be a free kick. Taken quickly. The ball now played back towards the halfway line. And Jorginho just having to hold on to the ball there momentarily. Back over towards Azpilicueta now on the right-hand side. I'm just getting word that there may have been a late change just before kick-off for the visitors. And I'll run you through the two sides in just a moment. Chelsea just in possession now, trying to get this ball forward over towards Cucurella, but they've gone back towards the halfway line now. Thiago Silva just holding the ball up for Chelsea, up towards Havertz, and there's a bit of space here now for Reece James down the right hand side. Tries an early ball in, which is swept away by Ulmer. Goes straight back towards Reece James, though. He's trying to force a corner kick, and in the end I think the last touch does come off the Chelsea man, so in the end it is just going to be a goal kick. But the Chelsea 11 this evening, Graham Potter's first 11 is Kepa in goal, a back four of Reece James, Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Marc Cucurella. The two holder midfielders, Mateo Kovacic and Jorginho. The three ahead of them are Kai Havertz, Mason Mount and Raheem Sterling, with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as the front man. I'll just do the visitors in a second because Chelsea are on the attack here with Mount breaking into the box. The ball then drops to Havertz. His strike is charged down and then a little bit off balance there. Aubameyang with the face mask on this evening. Snapped at that shot. Didn't really need to take that one on, and it's over the bar.
Yeah, it's a nice build-up play from Chelsea. They've started fairly strong, haven't they, under this new era with Graham Potter. It was worked nicely into the box. Makes a Mount with a bit of trickery, and Havertz tried to get the shot away, blocked in towards the path of Aubameyang, who got his shot, but he was always stretching, wasn't he? He was leaning to get towards it, and it went flying over the crossbar.
Never really had much of a chance of getting that on target. But the lineup for Salzburg this evening, it's Philip Kohn in goal with a back four of Amar Dedic, Bernardo, Starinia Pavlovic and Andreas Ulmer. The three in midfield are Nicolas Capaldo, Nicolas Sievout and Maurits Kiergaard, with Luka Susic playing behind a front two of Noah Okafor and Benjamin Šeško, who was only just named just before kick-off. It was due to be Fernando, but for whatever reason he must have got an injury in the warm-up, and he is now out of the 11. Here come the visitors now with their first attempt to try and get forward. It's with Okafor, gets to the left-hand edge of the penalty area. He's got three Chelsea players for company, goes back to Ulmer, puts a decent ball in. It's Cucurella under a bit of pressure, and then a combination of him and Thiago Silva just about to clear the ball for Chelsea. Just a bit of an angle there though from Cucurella, so it is still going to be Salzburg in possession here down the right-hand side. Certainly they might not have the names, but there are a couple of quick players. Okafor is a big, awkward player to try and mark, and Susic is someone who can create. So certainly there are players here that Chelsea need to be aware of.
Yeah, there is. I think now the added addition of Benjamin Šeško up front gives him a different sort of outlet, doesn't he? He's a bigger player up against this fairly small Chelsea back two in Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva. They haven't got height to their name, so a player like Sesko could cause them real problems tonight.
Absolutely. We were just saying before kickoff that it could be a bit of a risk here from Potter, having two very experienced, but they're not the tallest, they're not the quickest centre-backs in the lineup this evening. It may well be that Cucurella and Reece James are going to have to do a little bit of extra running to try and support their centre-backs. But Chelsea just getting caught out at the back. And it's a great... Oh, the referee has given a free kick there. Jorginho caught in possession at the edge of his own box. The ball then dropped to Susic, who struck it. It went over the bar running, but I think he'd already heard the whistle at this point. It's Kepa playing to Jorginho. It's a terrible ball from Kepa. And in fairness, it does look as though there was a bit of a foul there on Jorginho, but Kepa really giving his midfielder a hospital pass there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Kepa's doing there. I mean, giving the ball to Jorginho there was probably the worst thing he could have done. Just get the ball away. Don't put your central midfielder under pressure there. He needs to clear his lines. But Jorginho got away with one there because his first touch was heavy. It was always going to. It might have been Sesko who received the ball there, but thankfully Jorginho got fouled, so he got away with it.
Well, here come Chelsea now with a great run down the left-hand side. Sterling gets to the edge there. His run is charged down. It then gets towards Mount, who tries a left-footed effort. It's deflected away, but in fact there was an offside in the build-up to all of that anyway. We'll just wait and see who it was. Did Sterling go offside? Well, he couldn't have been offside when he got the ball, but I see. As this strike was made, Sterling actually deflected that ball himself, so at that stage he definitely was interfering with play, so it's absolutely the right decision. We do have an early goal in the 8 o'clock kickoffs. Juventus have taken the lead against Benfica, and it's Arkadiusz Milik with the goal there for Juve. Goalless in all the other 8 o'clock kickoffs so far. In the earlier games this evening, the two of them, AC Milan beat Dinamo Zagreb. That's of course the other game in this group, and Milan won by 3-1. Shakhtar Donetsk and Celtic played out a 1-1 draw. Cucurella now at the edge of his own penalty area, over towards Azpilicueta now down the right-hand side, leaves it for Mason Mount, who tries an early ball looking at Reece James. That's good play though from Ulmer. And the visitors now have possession back here down the left-hand side. Kiergaard, that wasn't a particularly good ball from him. Chelsea now win it back with Jorginho. Here is Mateo Kovacic, potentially getting a new lease of life here under Graham Potter. He was just a little bit out of Tuchel's plans towards the end, but here comes Sterling now down the left-hand side. His cross just a bit too high for Aubamayang. It's headed away towards the edge of the area. Mount then heads it down. It's picked up here by Reece James. No option to get it into the box. Goes back towards Azpilicueta. And now it's with Thiago Silva just at the edge of the centre circle. Kovacic over towards Cucurella. Ball now played back towards the halfway line. Chelsea enjoying a bit of possession, but in fairness, the visitors are well organised. They're not finding any gaps here, Chelsea, certainly not easily. Here comes Azpilicueta to James. 3 Salzburg players there for company, but he still manages to find a pass out towards Mount. And James carried on his run down the right-hand side. He gets all the way to the byline, has no option to put across it himself. Goes back to Azpilicueta. And Reece James again forced to go all the way back towards Thiago Silva. So Chelsea, 15-20 passes exchanged. They couldn't get a ball into the box. Now Cucurella trying from the left-hand side. And it's only partially cleared. Kept in play here by Kai Havertz. Back towards Kovacic. He then finds Sterling. First time pass towards Havertz. Gets to the edge of the area. Cross coming in. Swept away there by Bernardo. Before it's finally hooked away. And Azpilicueta trying his best. But the ball is cleared. And now Chelsea could be caught out at the back. But Kepa, he does have his critics. But in fairness to him, when he's off the line quickly like that, he pretty much got to the edge of the centre circle there. But it was a comfortable header for him in the end.
Yeah, it was a really nice play as we just break off as Aubamayang.
Yeah, played over the top here for Aubamayang. It never looked like he was going to trouble the goalkeeper from that sort of range. But he does deflect the ball away for a corner. But in fairness to Salzburg, they soaked up that period of pressure from Chelsea very well.
Yeah, they did, and I think Aubamayang does really well there to bait the corner away from the defender. He gets hooked to it, but it comes off the knee in the end. Never going to trouble the goalkeeper, but then he's created another good chance for the corner.
Set piece here, opportunity now for Chelsea. 9 minutes gone. It is goalless at Stamford Bridge. And it's going to be an out-swinging corner from Mason Mount. Puts a bit of height on this one. And it's easily volleyed clear. No one in the blue shirt's able to get near that one. Kovacic was the furthest man back for Chelsea. Plays a ball to Aubamayang, who's on the left-hand side, into Sterling. Sterling under pressure, going back towards Aubamayang. Not too many options for him in the box. In fact, there was only 2 players in the box to Salzburg's 5. And it's back with Kovacic here now. He is under pressure from Sesko. Still managed to get it over towards Reece James, and now it's down the right-hand side. It's Havertz trying to find a bit of space. No options really to try and get that ball into the box. Azpilicueta joining the move now. He gets towards the edge of the area. Cross coming in. There's a lot of height on it. Gets through to Sterling. Bit of a heavy touch to take it down, but he's still got the ball in Sterling. He's got an overlap here from Cucurella, who plays the ball into the 6-yard box. Just a little bit too tame to be a shot and not quite accurate enough to be a cross. And Chelsea have won themselves a free kick after Sterling was bundled off the ball, but referee Ivan Krujliak just making sure that Sterling waits for the whistle. As we see there, I just thought Cucurella, he's got such a good left foot on him. Put your laces through that. It was a side-footed pass into the 6-yard box. Yeah,
it was. It was a nice bit of build-up from Chelsea. They worked it side to side. They weren't rushing anything. That run around the outside from Cucurella was very smart. He got to the byline. Nobody really contesting him as Sterling picked him out. Sterling did well to find the pass, to be honest, because Cucurella was always out of his eyesight. But I agree. I think Cucurella maybe could have gone for goal there if he just hit it with a bit more venom. Could have troubled the goalkeeper.
Well, there's a left-footed and a right-footed option here for Chelsea with this free kick. It's the left-footed option of Cucurella. His header, it's a cross from Cucurella, headed across by Havertz, and it's just stopped at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a good ball in from Cucurella, decent header from Havertz as well. And now it's Andreas Ulmer playing it down the left-hand side for Salzburg, but that ball doesn't even reach the halfway line before Chelsea win it back. That's potentially where Matthias Jassel's side are just going to have to be a little bit more careful. They obviously want to get rid of the pressure straight away, but they've got to try and keep it away from their box for longer than what they have done. It was just a clearance, and Chelsea now back in possession. Yeah, well,
they may have done their homework on this Chelsea side, who played pretty similar against Zagreb last week. They had a lot of the ball, the lion's share of possession. They just couldn't do anything with it. When it came to the final third, that last ball just wasn't sticking, just like they maybe would have hoped. Obviously a different side they're playing against now, so they can't read too much into it. But
lovely turn that though from Mason Mount. He got away and embarrassed Sieve out there really, but he couldn't get away from Pavlovic. And Salzburg have possession now down the left-hand side. A ball over the top, headed down there by Sesko. Needs a few options though. Joining this attack is Kiergaard now. Pass on the overlap all the way to the edge of the area. Cross coming in. Comfortable header away though by Thiago Silva. And then it's with Azpilicueta. Plays a ball up towards the halfway line and then played straight back to Azpilicueta. Made a bit of a mess of the header, but there was plenty of time for Kepa to get on the end of that one. So far, not too much difference really. I suppose if Tuchel was still in charge, I'm not sure that Chelsea's style of play looks all that different, certainly from the first 10-11 minutes that we've seen.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar. The only difference being is that extra attacker now, with them not playing with the 5 at the back. The ball's just been cut out there, and Salzburg.
Yeah, they've got a chance here now if they can get a ball through to the edge of the area. Sesko was getting into the box. Okafor couldn't quite find him though, but he's an awkward player, Okafor. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's quite a strong player as well. And certainly they'll be hoping that he can hold the ball up and get teammates involved. It's Andreas Ulmer with the throw on down the left-hand side. But just having to wait here as Chelsea player Mason Mount is just checking his laces. It was Havertz, in fact, who was checking his laces. The throw on is taken. It's with, he goes down a little bit too easily there. There's Okafor. He's looking for a free kick, which the referee was never going to give him. But then Havertz rushed his clearance. It's straight out for another throw. We're going to see a replay now of that earlier chance. It was a header from Havertz, and it was Pavlovic that got himself in the way.
Yeah, I thought for a second it may have come off Aubamayang there. I was going to say when it happened, wasn't sure if it was his own teammate preventing the goal from happening, but we just see another replay there in slow motion. It was the defender who got there first. But yeah, a good start from Chelsea. It's like I said earlier before we had to break off. It's a similar performance to what we saw against Zagreb. Not really sure whether it will have a similar ending with them having the lion's share of the ball, not being able to finish. But the only one the good thing that Graham Potter can take by taking this Chelsea side under his wing is that similar to his time at Brighton, they didn't really have an out-and-out striker that would score them a handful of goals in a season, which is similar to this Chelsea side. They've really lacked the goal scorer now. Hopefully Aubamayang is going to come in and do that for them, but it's yet to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chelsea don't have a Premier League game this weekend. They were due to play Liverpool at home. But I think with plenty of activity, relatively close to Stamford Bridge, of course, in relation to Buckingham Palace and all the royal parks around London. So I think it was just for that reason that that game has been moved, of course, with the Metropolitan Police having plenty of additional duties in the coming weekend. But that does mean, of course, that Chelsea really can leave it all on the pitch this evening, because their next home game, their next game in the Premier League is on the 1st of October away to Crystal Palace. So a real long break after this evening.
Yeah, it is. It's similar for a couple of sides as well in the Premier League. I know Leeds United haven't got a game until the 3rd of October, and similar for the teams as well that have their games cancelled. Manchester United, who are playing Leeds, they don't have a game now until after the international break, so all the sides can really, who are in Europe, can really go gung-ho to try and win their games.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 15 minutes on the clock, independent off-tube studio commentary. It's goalless between Chelsea and Salzburg. Chelsea certainly seeing more of the ball, but not really forced goalkeeper Philip Kahn into any kind of save so far. His defenders have had a bit of work to do, but the goalkeeper pretty much untested. 68% possession for Chelsea in the first quarter of an hour to 32% for Salzburg. Thiago Silva now on the halfway line for Chelsea. Looked at Cucurella, but he was quickly closed down. Back with Thiago Silva now. Azpilicueta spotting Reece James down the right-hand side. Leaves the ball now for Mount. Back to James. James's ball in is stopped quite easily in the end. And James a little bit frustrated, perhaps, that he wasn't getting options from his teammates. It's Andreas Ulmer, trusty left-back, that gets in the way of that one.
It's interesting to see how Chelsea is set up. As we break off there as well.
Well, that's a lovely touch there from Havertz to break into the box. It was a throw-on taken quickly. I think it was but Havertz feeding that ball in towards Mount, but once he got into the box, couldn't quite control it to get the shots away. You can see Graham Potter, who's taken a fair amount of his backroom staff with him, of course, to Stamford Bridge. It's a huge promotion for him, and it really is a great opportunity for him. I did like that just after he got that Chelsea job, there was a couple of tweets sharing a thank you note that he got from the Leeds United, or the Leeds Metropolitan football team that he managed about 10 or 11 years ago. It just shows you how quickly his career has blossomed, to going from managing a university sort of semi-professional team, you could say, to managing one of the big sides in Europe in just over 10 years. Really is a very, very impressive route there for Graham Potter. And as I say, he'll be wanting to grasp this opportunity with both hands. As Salzburg now enjoying a bit of possession in the Chelsea half. Still quite a way away from the box, though. It's Amar Dedic down the right-hand side, trying to get a bit more pace on this throw. It was the right idea, just gave a little bit too much for Sesko to do there. And in the end, it's easily left by Thiago Silva. Out for a goal kick. It's a pretty low-scoring evening so far in the Champions League. Just that one goal in all the 8 o'clock kickoffs, with Juventus leading against Benfica. No goals anywhere else, and there is plenty of British interest this evening. Man City against Dortmund, and Rangers against Napoli, as well as this game. As Chelsea once again getting themselves into a little bit of a cul-de-sac, but they get away with it in the end. And it's Cucurella now down the left-hand side, finds Aubamayang, and that's nice, touches that ball on towards Kovacic. Back to Aubamayang. He then plays it early, looking for Havertz, who tried to turn away from Bernardo. But in fairness, the defender there was pretty wise to that, and he dispossesses Havertz. Cleared now by Salzburg. A bit of fight for it there in midfield, and in the end, the referee deciding that Azpilicueta was pushed over there by Okafor.
Yeah, I think it was a slight arm across from Okafor. I think he knew Azpilicueta had him beaten there, so he just backs into him. No real eye on the ball there, so a very blatant foul to give away.
I mean, I suppose Azpilicueta using his experience, because he didn't really have an eye on the ball either. He just stood still and effectively gave Okafor the choice of trying to go round him, which he wouldn't have got to the ball in time, or run into Azpilicueta and give the foul away. And Okafor, as you said, didn't even try to disguise the fact that he was only trying to push the Chelsea captain over. And now Cucurella down the left, playing it towards Aubamayang. Gets the ball away from Bernardo. Havertz now under pressure, but he still finds a pass out towards the right-hand side for Reece James. And he's got 3 players waiting in the area. James, if he can pick out a cross. He's trying to get away from Kiergaard. Goes all the way to the byline, puts a good cross in. The keeper has been completely bypassed, but no one can get a shot away. Sterling now at the edge of the 6-yard box, just dwelling on it a little bit too long. And eventually his effort is cleared away for a corner. But that should be encouragement for Chelsea, because Salzburg keeper Philip Kahn got it all wrong coming out for that cross.
Yeah, he came out to try and claim it, got absolutely nowhere near the ball, and we've just seen Sterling a couple of times now not really wanting to bite the bullet. He's been hesitant a couple of times to get his shot away. It did fall to him. It wasn't the nicest setup. Did sort of sit quite awkwardly. He had to chest it down, but you just wonder whether he could have just snapped at it and maybe got a shot away before the keeper got back on his line. This way,
that's goalkeeping coaches watching this would be tearing their hair out seeing what Kahn did there. It's the worst thing you could do. He half went out for a cross to sort of almost let his teammates know he was going to do something with it, and then just completely left it. That was poor from the goalkeeper. The corner kick from Chelsea was poor as well. James's initial corner kick was cleared straight back to him, and his second effort was also cleared away. Sterling now fighting to keep Chelsea in possession down the right-hand side. Fighting too much, says the referee. Sterling with real frustration there as Ivan Kryzliak gives the free kick against Sterling there, just fighting with Capaldo. 6-1, I would say, really, there for the two of them. But I think the referee just decided that because perhaps Sterling actually won the ball, that he must have committed the foul. We'll break off from that, though, because here comes Salzburg now down the left-hand side, getting towards the edge of the area. They want to throw down the left. It's not going to happen, though. It's going to be a throw to Chelsea. And meanwhile, Azpilicueta seems to have taken a blow to the face there as well.
Yeah, just seeing the replay here, the initial foul. It was just a ball, an arm across the face from Benjamin Sesko there. I don't really think there was any intent there. It was fairly innocent, not really much malice behind it, but he did catch Azpilicueta right on the button. So yeah, Azpilicueta maybe wanting a foul. I don't think he will get it though.
No, I think it was going to be a throw to Chelsea down their right hand side anyway. And as I say, I'm not sure that sort of glancing handoff there from Sesko is enough to put Azpilicueta into the sort of pain that he's now showing the referee. I think, as you said, it was probably a little bit more him just trying to make sure that that foul got over the line. But it is just a throw to Chelsea down the left, which Azpilicueta can take himself. Plenty of Salzburg players still up here, though. They know that Chelsea like playing out from the back, and there is always that chance that you could just try and pick a ball off. They nearly managed it very early on in this game, of course, where Jorginho was sold a terrible pass by Kepa, but bailed out by the free kick going in his favour. Chelsea now have lost the ball. It's a throw to Salzburg down their left. Ulmer with the ball now, gets it in towards Susic, plays it forward, but that one is quickly and hooked away. And in fact, looks like there's an offside as well, which is disappointing from Salzburg. If they're going to have any kind of limited possession in the Chelsea half, they've got to try and conserve it better than that.
Yeah, they have. They've got to be a little bit sharper in possession, in transition from back to front. I think, well, like you said before, the ball into Jorginho that was almost cut out. They got away with one there, and Kepa with another poor clearance downfield. It was a low one, but yeah,
he got away with it, though. It reached the halfway line, didn't it? But really, it could have been cut out a lot sooner. As a ball over the top now, Sterling really showing his pace, gets to that ball first at the edge of the area. A little bit isolated now. Is he going to try and go himself? He's still got possession. Back heels it into Kovacic. Kovacic can't quite get the ball out from under his feet, but he rolls it back towards Jorginho, and then sweeps the ball in towards James. Bit of a heavy touch there from Reece James. Just slows the move down slightly, but still manages to get a ball in this time. Much more comfortable save in the end from Philip Kahn. Just watch that into his hands. But Sterling there showing the kind of pace that he still has.
Yeah, he really ripped the defender there. He got ahead of him. Initially, he was about 2 yards away from the defender there. Still got around him pretty comfortably, but the way the ball bounced, it was sort of always travelling towards the corner. It wasn't really favourable to shoot. Tried to turn back. I think the initial option there was to swing it first time to Aubamayang. It's what he tried to do. You saw him look up, but he realised the defender came across, cut out the angle pretty quickly, and in the end, fairly good defending.
It was a good... we can see 6 efforts from Chelsea in the game so far, just one of them on target, and no efforts of any description for Salzburg as we reach the halfway point in this first half, just coming up to 23 minutes gone. It is goalless, and it will be Harry to take us through to half-time.
Ball thrown taken there by Salzburg down the line, and there's been a massive goal in the Champions League, a massive upset as well, as Maccabi Haifa take the lead at home against the European giants PSG to Jean Sherry with the goal. So that could be a massive goal.
I remember Cherry playing for QPR years ago. He didn't seem like he was good enough for them then. I think he went off to play football in China for some time, but playing in Israel now, and that would be a huge upset if Maccabi Haifa could beat PSG. It's a club that always gets into the European competitions, and they have always been looking for that big scalp, so that really could be quite something. But of course, PSG still with time to come back in that one.
Kovacic picks the ball up on halfway now. He's got options ahead. He does find Raheem Sterling. There's Chelsea players flooding the box as Sterling keeps going forward. A lovely ball into Aubamayang. Oh, it's a shot first time. It's blocked away by Bernardo there. It was really good defending to stick with his runner, the Gabonese man. Got the first touch was good. He set himself up nicely. The left-footed shot came across, but Bernardo came flying in with a sliding challenge. Chelsea corner down by the corner flag. Cucurella with the ball in hand. He's waiting for options to present themselves in front of him. Does find Sterling, goes back towards the Spaniard, and now Kovacic will look to reset, go back to front as he feeds it back towards Thiago Silva on halfway. Helped across towards the captain for this evening, Azpilicueta. Now Reece James. Chelsea will look to reset, and they won't be rushing to throw bodies forward here. They'll take their time. They've done it time and time again this evening. They haven't rushed any sort of chance to get the ball in the box, as now Sterling picks it up at a nice pocket of space out on the left-hand side. Turns back, looks like he wants to take his man on, but good defending by Dedic to keep him away from the penalty area. But Chelsea with the throw in very quickly. Havertz tries to pick out Sterling once again, but a really poor pass will lead it out for a Salzburg throw.
Yeah, there's still a little bit missing here from Chelsea. Right, that's not necessarily down to a change of manager. It's just that perhaps because they've not had a game since away to Zagreb last week, they're just lacking that little bit of sharpness. That final ball into the box, that final decision what to do once they get into the final third, is just lacking for Chelsea right now.
Dedic with the throw down the line, flicked on there by Benjamin Sesko. Kepa has to come out once again off his line to clear the ball away. He sends it over to the far side this time to try and pick out Reece James, but it won't make it to him. Olmo will go and receive the ball and take the throw in just on halfway. So a chance for Salzburg to regain possession once again, as Kepa, not for the first time this evening, has come far off his line to clear any signs of danger, as Thiago Silva this time sends a long clearance downfield, not going to be met by any blue shirts, as the ball will go all the way back towards Chelsea inside their own half, but Szczerbakowicz can't keep it in this time, and Chelsea really struggling to keep the ball on the floor here and play the ball around in possession. So Salzburg will have another chance to threaten with another throw, this time further on down the line, about halfway into Chelsea's half. We almost to take, throws one down the line, looking for Noah Okafor, who's into a nice space, and another sliding challenge comes in this time from Thiago Silva, coming across to help out Szczerbakowicz. They've doubled up on Capaldo down by the far touchline.
Yeah, Salzburg just building a little bit of pressure here now, and depending on how much distance Ulmer can get on this throw, there's certainly a couple of big players to try and pick out in the box here with this throw on.
Doubt Chelsea's lack of height this evening, as the throw does come in from Ulmer, doesn't beat the first man though. Reece James will head away pretty comfortably. Aubamayang with a smart flick, looking for Kai Havertz, but he won't pick out the German, as Salzburg will regain possession once again, as Chelsea can't hold on to the ball in the final third. It seems as though they're set up with Aubamayang and Havertz taking it in turn to be the last man on the edge of the defenders. Happy to switch over, and one can drop in deep while the other goes long. It's a smart ploy from Graham Potter's side, but Benjamin Sesko just flicks the ball away from Sterling to have possession back for Salzburg. Cleared down the line by Kovacic, but it comes off a Salzburg player last, and now Chelsea will look to counter here. Another poor ball from Kai Havertz, trying to look for Raheem Sterling. It's not the first, and probably won't be the last time Kai Havertz loses out possession pretty easily.
Yeah, I think they're just rushing it a little bit, Chelsea. Maybe because they feel as though they've got on paper a much stronger side, and they should be winning against Salzburg by now. So it's almost like they're a little bit too urgent in trying to get that pass forward. But you just need to take a step. You can even see Jorginho there just telling a couple of his teammates to slow things down, to calm things down. As we see Graham Potter in black suit and black tie, of course, as a mark of respect this evening. And it has to be said that after 27 minutes, he won't be too disappointed in terms of how Chelsea are coping with Salzburg, but he would have liked to have seen his side do a little bit more going forward.
Yeah, it's almost a similar vintage Chelsea performance, with a lack of output in the final third, but defending pretty robust and happy to sit back and soak up the little pressure that Salzburg are applying towards them. Just does beg the question whether they can actually create their chances in the final third and finish them off as well, as Kovacic now turns away from oncoming Sukic, who put him under a bit of pressure, and now Cucurella wants to get away from Benjamin Sesko on this near side. Just really well, maybe slightly fortunate to get the ball away from the young striker, as Chelsea looking to play out from the back here. Sukic coming across once again, and Chelsea slightly struggling again to play out from the back. A couple of shaky warning signs that Salzburg are throwing towards them, but once again fortunate to win the throw-in.
Well, the trouble is that Salzburg aren't, if I can say it like this, they aren't brave enough, or haven't looked brave enough to try and put Chelsea under more pressure, but you just get the feeling that Chelsea could be had here in their defensive line. They are quite nervous in the way they're playing out. They've given a couple of easy balls away already, and you just feel that if Salzburg could commit an extra player to go forward, but it'll break off from that, because here is a great chance down the right-hand side.
Down the right-hand side, a nicely whipped ball into the box by Reece James. There was players arriving. Aubamayang was the notable one, arriving towards the back post. James with a smart ball in that corridor of uncertainty. The goalkeeper, Korn, could get nowhere near the ball, as James with a really smart dummy there to lose the defender. He played the ball in the box. The goalkeeper didn't know whether to come or go. Aubamayang just not quite quick enough to get there, and it'll roll out for a Salzburg throw.
Yeah, I mean, Pavlovic got sent to the next postcode, didn't he? By the way, he got rolled there on the halfway line, and then with James getting on the end of that one and putting across it, just a little bit too much pace on that for the arriving Aubamayang and Sterling. But certainly that's the kind of thing you can see Graham Potter there applauding that one, because he would have been pleased to see that's the way that Chelsea were trying to go down the right-hand side, as now it's Sesko trying to start a move for Salzburg out for a throw.
Yeah, brighter signs by Chelsea in terms of threatening Salzburg in the final third. They looked a lot more direct there, with Reece James being at the forefront of the attacking output. He's a player who's really provided a lot of attacking threat for Chelsea over the last year or two. One of the most creative players they have, despite being a defender. He gets in an area down the line, you know, a smart ball will always be delivered from the England right back, as Cucurella will look to take the throw now on this near touchline. The ball in hand, he's waiting for options to present, as very deep is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who felt it was his need to provide Cucurella with an option. Ended up helping the ball all the way back to Kepa in goal now. He'll look to play out from the back. Feeds it out to Azpilicueta, the Chelsea skipper, as he plays a give and go with Reece James before feeding it back towards Kepa. The Spaniard with a cute dink over the top of Sesko picks out Cucurella. His first touch is poor, and it's been picked out once again. Capaldo now looking to make inroads down the line, as Chelsea do well to limit any signs of danger, as Dedic got the ball and could not quite make anything count, and then Kovacic trying to get the ball away, and Sukic picked it up, and a ball from Sukic looking for the oncoming run, but this one has been picked out by Reece James, and now Chelsea will look to go back on the counter-attack. Very scrappy from both sides, neither really able to make that final pass stick, as a really smart couple of shimmies from Reece James gets away from a couple of Salzburg shirts, and look to calm things down here now, Chelsea, after frantically losing possession a couple of times in the space of 10 or 15 seconds. They'll go back.
They just Chelsea have got to say that Chelsea were lucky there, because twice they gave the ball away really cheaply, and Salzburg wasted it. That ball across from right to left, really wasted. But here comes Sterling now.
Yeah, Sterling doing a real number on the right back Dedic here to get the better of him for pace, but the clearance has finally been made by Salzburg, and they'll look to break down the right hand side. Cucurella caught in an unfamiliar position now as the ball comes flying in from Capaldo. He tries to reach a first-time ball in towards the penalty area, will ricochet off Thiago Silva, and he does really well to get back the veteran Brazilian. He gets the ball straight into the feet of Jorginho. They want to get straight on the counter-attack here now, Chelsea. Kovacic with a smart ball over to Kai Havertz, tries to feed a first-time pass in towards Raheem Sterling. That ball once again from Kai Havertz, lacklustre. And Benjamin Sesko tried to twist and turn away from Thiago Silva. Cucurella comes across and makes a challenge. I think he has bought his side a free kick there, Sesko, as he does, as Cucurella with one arm over the shoulder and one leg in front of Benjamin Sesko. They'll have a chance to threaten this Chelsea side from a set piece, Salzburg, and it looks like it's going to be Seevald to place the ball down and take the set piece. As
Chelsea trying to set up as high as they can with the offside, which in itself is not a bad idea, of course, but you've got to time it just right, because if they allow the ball to get over the top and there's no offside, then all of a sudden they've really exposed Kepa.
They have, as they'll look to flood the box with bodies here. Salzburg use their height to their advantage. Chelsea setting up, like I've said, a very high line here. The ball delivered into the area. It's a splitting one, and it has going to be met by a Salzburg player. It is Okafor who gets there first. It's actually Seevald who gets there first, and then they'll get the ball back into the area now, Salzburg, and an offside flag has been raised, so I think Chelsea did just do enough there to bait the offside, and they played the offside trap fairly well.
They did. It was marginal, but it is the correct decision. It's just from Salzburg's point of view, it'll be frustrating that they probably had enough final third possession to have created at least a couple of chances, and they haven't really been able to do it yet. And just obviously they're not. You couldn't compare the two sides to the game I was doing yesterday, which was Bayern against Barca. But having said that, Bayern had a couple of really good. Barca had a couple of really good opportunities in the first half, which they didn't take, and then they lived to regret it in the second half when Bayern scored a couple of early goals. And you just get the feeling, I'm not quite sure what the problem is here. By the way, we'll just break off that for a second, because it seems that maybe some of the technology that some of the devices that our referees have to use these days, there seems to be an issue in terms of whether it's the mouthpiece, the earpiece, or indeed maybe some VAR or the goal line technology, something. The referee, Ivan Kruzliak, wasn't happy, and he just stopped play to have a quick word with his fourth official, and it looks like the TV director as well.
Yeah, it seems that there's definitely an issue with some of the technology that is being used. The referee just having a word with his fourth official and linesman here, as I think he wants to get the issue resolved as quick as possible so we can get back to the football. Jorginho going over to have a quick word with Graham Potter over by the touchline. A few choice words from his new manager as he just takes a sip of water and gives the players a chance to have a little break, as it's unfamiliar territory for both sides. They haven't met each other in each of their histories. So a chance for both.
Right, well now we can see that our referee is now talking to what I would only assume is some kind of is it sound, either a sound engineer, but now the referee's being asked to put on some full-on headphones here rather than the small sort of earpiece that he normally sees. The point you're making there about Potter talking to Jorginho, of course, Jorginho is always that linchpin in midfield. He has been for a few Chelsea managers now, hasn't he? So certainly Graham Potter, if he can get a good understanding as to what he likes to see in his midfield, and Jorginho understands that as soon as possible, then that will certainly be very fruitful for Chelsea. But this is bizarre now. The referee has now put on a sort of a full set of headphones to have a word, but there was no decision there that could have we could see lip reading what the sound engineer is saying to the referee. Says, I can hear you. So maybe the issue is that the referee couldn't hear himself through the earpiece, but everything seems to be fine. And yeah, it looks as though the officials, the sound engineer and the players are all looking very confused at the referee, who doesn't look particularly clear on what's happening himself.
Yeah, well, in all of the drama of the referee having his issues, there's been another goal in the Champions League to tell you about, and it didn't last long for the smaller side in the Champions League this year. Maccabi Haifa as Lionel Messi, that man, has got a goal for PSG to get themselves straight back into the fixture. So a slight blip for PSG, but they're back on track now to get back into the game.
Right, well, this is confusing me now. I don't understand. The referee called both sets of players over now to have a word with them as well. This is taking an awfully long time to sort something out that, to me, seems really very basic, and I don't understand why the referee is taking so long here. I do hope that UEFA are marking him down for this, because it does seem to me as though he has the issue and nobody else does.
Yeah, as we know, he does put his whistle to his lips, so it will be play on there. The referee has his arm in the air to suggest that we can play on, and Kepa does get the game back underway with a goal kick. So a very bizarre bit of activity from the game. It's definitely a first for me. I haven't seen anything like that in the Champions League before in my lifetime. So we're back underway, however, and Salzburg are straight back on the attack. The ball down the line, cut out by Jorginho. Kovacic comes across to cover, but it won't be needed as it will fly out for a throw-in to RB Salzburg. So chance for them to get back on the front foot on the near touch line. Now going to take the throw-in. Going to be Dedic to take the throw. He's got options down the line. A couple of players making movements for him, but still holding on to the ball is Dedic, and he does eventually throw towards Benjamin Sesko. It's won by a Chelsea player, flicked on by Havertz, and then a second header comes away from Bernardo. But Chelsea will look to break. Sterling down the left-hand side almost latches onto the end of a loose ball, but it will go out for another throw-in, and the game just having a little bit of a more scrappy feel.
Yeah,
now.
It's almost like the referee sort of moment of sort of confusion sort of mirrors how we've seen things on the pitch. It hasn't really been a particularly crisp game from either side. Chelsea, as you would expect, have seen more of the ball, but struggling to get any kind of efforts away on target, and certainly nothing really to worry goalkeeper Philip Kahn for the time being. And Salzburg at the other end have had even Leicester to speak of, so has been a bit of a disjointed game, and that break and play hasn't really helped either side, it would seem.
No, it seems like it may have slightly disrupted the flow of Salzburg enjoying a little bit more of possession in the last 10 or so minutes. They've threatened Chelsea ever so slightly more than they had in the opening 20 or so. 38 minutes played now. It's still Chelsea 0, Salzburg 0 at Stamford Bridge. Now on the far side, Mason Mount and Kovacic are battling, trying to win the ball away, but it will be picked up there by Sukic. And now Seevald will get the ball away, but he's been dispossessed, and Chelsea look to break from the back as Kepa plays a long ball towards the halfway line. Aubamayang can't get there ahead of Pavlovic, and now Seevald will pick up in a pocket of space once again. He plays a smart ball out wide towards Sesko. Sesko tries to flick it towards Dedic, but he is offside, and Chelsea get the game back underway with a free kick very quickly. They're in a rush to make sure they're back on the front foot. They've slightly fallen off in the last 5 or so minutes in terms of attacking output, so Graham Potter's side will definitely want to get the ball back running as Mason Mount picks out Reece James on the far side. Back towards Azpilicueta, plays a first time ball towards the back post. Raheem Sterling gets there, he has the shot, it's blocked away, but the danger's not clear as Cucurella picks it up on the edge of the box. Goes back into Raheem Sterling once again. Sterling takes on his man, helps it across to Cucurella with another smart run, and he plays the ball across the box, and Aubamayang can't quite get there. Mason Mount has a chance and fires wide with a absolute pile driver there. The goalkeeper seemingly beaten, but Mason Mount can't quite hit the target, and Salzburg have got away with one.
They have, yeah. Chelsea finally getting a little bit more joy down this left-hand side. Cucurella playing a low ball into the ground this time. It falls kindly for Mount, and he really does get a good sort of slice on that, just angling away from the post. Goalkeeper's rooted to the spot, so if that's on target, Philip Kahn is not saving that. That's certainly the closest that Chelsea have been.
Yeah, we just see another replay there of the earlier chance from Raheem Sterling. This time he did decide to bite the bullet and shoot. First time
I think he was asking the question about the handball there as well, but we could see from the replay it was almost hitting the side of the defender there, really.
Yeah, it was a handball, so the claims will go noted, but not given, as Raheem Sterling picks the ball back up now, tries to play Jorginho, but they have given possession away here, and now Sesko has players ahead of him. A massive sliding challenge comes across from Mount to save them, but a bending shot comes in from Benjamin Sesko. He's forced a smart save out of Kepa Arrizabalaga, and they will have a chance from the corner now, Salzburg.
Yeah, Sesko with the effort, just a bit of curl on the left foot, and that's heading on target and needed to be saved by Kepa, and that really is a very good save from Kepa as well. We've criticised him a few times this evening for his passes out from the back, but that was a really good one-handed save.
Called on. He's been there for Chelsea, and he seems like a mainstay in these group stage games for Graham Potter's side. He was the same under Thomas Tuchel last week. Started ahead of Edouard Mendy, and with Edouard Mendy out injured, interested to see whether he will get back into the starting 11 for the Champions League fixtures or not. Kepa can keep clean sheets, then maybe you can't take that place away from him as they do get the game back underway. Ball whipped into the area by Salzburg, headed away by Thiago Silva. Going to be picked up on halfway. They'll get bodies back in the box as Ulmer will receive it back from Seevald. Plays it back across now towards Dedic. Dedic back to Ulmer now, and they've got a bit of a defensive line back here now, Salzburg, after the corner, and they can't make anything work going forward, so the ball's going to go all the way back to Korn. Just ticking over the 41st minute. Still Chelsea 0, Salzburg 0. Ball from Korn goes all the way towards Sesko on this near touchline. He keeps it in with a smart header. And battling in the middle is Capaldo and Kovacic, picked up now by Cucurella. Thiago Silva will help it back towards Kepa. It looked like he maybe wanted a ball forward there, but did the smart thing, the right idea, and kept things on the floor and made sure Chelsea retained possession. Kepa this time with a long ball, but absolutely no one to aim at there. It was more of a percentage ball, but it's going to be picked up by Capaldo. Plays the ball into Seevald now, who turns away smartly from Havertz, and now Ulmer will have a chance down the left-hand side. Slots it through towards Okafor, but he can't latch onto the end of it. Chelsea looking to counter now. Mason Mount turns away there from Ulmer smartly. Still with the ball here now, Mason Mount. He turns away from a couple of players. He's still got the ball, and eventually he does lose out, but he has bought a free kick, and it's really nice play there from Mason Mount. It
is. I mean, he would have preferred to have got that ball away quickly, but second option, if he can't do that, he'll hold it up and try and get a teammate involved, and that's at worst, he'll win his side a free kick because the Salzburg players just could not dispossess him no matter what they tried, and Chelsea take the free kick short.
There's another big goal to tell you about in the Champions League. Benfica have clawed back against Juventus a penalty scored from the Portuguese side to make it level terms once again. It's Juventus 1, Benfica 1 now. As Cucurella picks the ball up on halfway. Looks to progress gingerly into the Salzburg half as he ends up turning back. Going back towards Thiago Silva. They play from left to right now over towards Reece James. Plays a 1-2 with Mason Mount. James then plays to Jorginho with a smart ball into Mason Mount, plays it over the top looking for Kai Havertz, and he can't quite get there ahead of Bernardo's smart defending. Stops Havertz in his tracks, but he can't quite get his clearance any further than Mason Mount on the edge of the box. He'll look to restart the attack. Go back now, Chelsea, and look to reset in transition as now Cucurella helps it out towards Sterling. Sterling hugging the touchline here as he looks to take on Dedic. Plays it in towards Kovacic. He's been brought to ground there, and the referee will give another free kick in favour of Chelsea. Capaldo, the man in question, as he brings Kovacic to ground, who was very smart in the way he put his body in between the man and the ball to bait the free kick out of Capaldo. As now they take it quickly once again, Chelsea. They're not waiting around at any chance here, as maybe they're looking slightly desperate to get a goal before half-time, as Mount goes back towards Azpilicueta. And now Cucurella to help it further on down the line. Sterling once again hugging the touchline. He's playing very wide here, Raheem Sterling, but he's got the better of Dedic there. Plays the ball in towards the box, and arriving was Havertz. Can't quite reach him, and they've cleared their line, Salzburg, but very gingerly, and it will still be picked up there by Reece James, so the attack isn't over just yet, as Chelsea still remaining on top with this relentless pressure here, as Azpilicueta now picks it up towards Thiago Silva. Really good chance there from Chelsea, as Sterling can't quite pick out a teammate, but they've got another bite of the cherry here as Mount gets it by the byline, plays another ball across the box as Pavlovic clears away only as far as another Chelsea throw, and Salzburg really struggling to clear their lines here.
They are. They could probably do with half-time now, the visitors. They're just under a little bit more pressure here, albeit it's all at the edge of the area. Chelsea are getting a little bit more joy trying to push forward, but still not too much work for Philip Kahn in the Salzburg goal. But here comes Chelsea now with Sterling down the left.
Yeah, Sterling has a chance now to cut in on the right foot. He does so well, and he's still moving in towards the penalty area. He's been brought to ground. Referee says no foul, and Salzburg will clear their lines here with a massive clearance, long looking for the run of Okafor.
Well, that's just it, Harry, isn't it? It's just the clearance. They could have actually just taken a touch there and try and hold the ball up momentarily to try and give themselves a chance of actually holding it up in midfield, but they just give it straight back to Chelsea. Here comes Cucurella now as we go into injury time.
We are into injury time, and the fourth official has displayed the electrical board to signify an additional 3 minutes of added time.
2 minutes of that from the referee, really, aren't they?
Yes, I'm sure actually all three of that probably would have been from the referee, as we had a major stoppage there for the technical difficulties from our referee today. But Chelsea still on the front foot. They've still got time to maybe grab an opening goal in this first half, as Raheem Sterling, looking lively as ever, cuts in on the right foot there smartly, tries to dink it towards the box. It's a really poor delivery. Not really sure whether he was going for a shot or a pass there, but nonetheless, Salzburg can only clear their lines as far as Thiago Silva, who helps it further to Jorginho, and now they look to reset once again with Jorginho out to Cucurella. There's players flooding the box. He's got a lot of space ahead of him to run into, decides to drop it inside towards Kovacic, and now Jorginho plays a smart ball over the top looking for the oncoming run. Mason Mount was making a darting run in behind. Sterling was too arriving, but this time he just overhit it slightly there, and the keeper will claim.
Yeah, well, we're seeing a replay of that challenge from Dedic at the edge. It was never going to be a penalty. It was outside the box, but he was taking a risk there. I think it's always a risk when you slide in like that against a pacey player like Raheem Sterling. And then the ball into the box a moment earlier. Good ball across the 6-yard box, just nobody close enough in a Chelsea shirt to take advantage.
Yeah, Havertz slightly lacking that killer instinct as a striker to be in the right place at the right time there, but here is Havertz trying to skip away from a Salzburg defender. He can't quite get the better of Seevald, so he has lost out of possession. Now Salzburg trying to play out from the back here. Ball over the top, looking for the run of Capaldo. Picked up though by Thiago Silva, and Jorginho goes down under a very easy challenge there from Capaldo. Very tame, but nonetheless, referee has bought it. Chelsea will have another free kick on halfway. Yeah,
well, Matthias Jasle there, the Salzburg manager, having a quick word with the linesman about that. He was a bit frustrated about that decision. It really is a very low-scoring evening in the Champions League. Apart from Benfica drawing away at Juventus and Maccabi Haifa PSG 1-1, all the other 8 o'clock kickoffs are still goalless as we go into half-time.
The ball down the line, looking for Aubamayang now. He's tried a first-time ball, looking for an oncoming run. Kovacic gets there first, and it's been bundled around the penalty area. They're claiming for a handball, Chelsea. The goalkeeper, Kohn, has claimed the ball, but Kovacic has his arms in the air, appealing to the referee. It will be checked by VAR here, as we just see another replay. Kovacic, he gets his header on target. It has ricocheted off the hand of Bernardo, and it looked like it was going goal-bound, so you don't know whether it maybe could have slipped in. I think maybe a tame effort, but nonetheless,
yeah, well,
could have easily have been given.
Harry, we may have a bit more time left in this first half with the VAR check being carried out. I mean, Kovacic is screaming at the referee to check this. I mean, Bernardo's hand is down by his side, but the referee has allowed play to go on here, so I think that VAR have already checked and decided that it wasn't a deliberate handball. But I'll tell you what, there could have been a question mark about that, as the referee does call time on the first half.
Yeah, we go into the break goalless, as Chelsea, with their relentless pressure, are still unable to break down this Salzburg side, who have set up in a robust defence. We go into the break, Chelsea 0, Salzburg 0.